This is the Awkward Handshake, a podcast about networking, business, and what really happens in the room.
We're unpacking the good, the bad, and the awkward so you can build better connections and get paid.
Let's get into it. Megan, it is our first episode, and I feel like I need to ask you this question because the first time we met, you asked me, Mary, what's your favorite dinosaur? And we became such fast friends because I was like, Stegosaurus, duh. What is your favorite dinosaur?
It has always been the Velociraptor. This ages me. I had to get the permission slip signed in 6th grade to watch the show because it was PG-13 and some kids weren't 13. So you had to get your parents to sign the slip that, yes, you can watch Jurassic Park.
Thank you for reminding me that I'm older than you.
I know. So they had to bring in the big AV thing. And as soon as I saw like the Velociraptors, I was like, oh, yes. You're so cute and deadly. I love you.
Not really the response I thought. But it's a great question for everyone who knows us already and new friends to know that this question we now use in our group networking events because we have discovered how many people are truly neurodivergent. And it's just such an easy question to anchor into. And we have discovered people have given us the most interesting of responses. So we're going to be sharing more things like that as we go through our whole season for the Awkward Handshake.
Yeah. I mean, when I asked it of you, it became my primer to know, can I get along with the person? And business owners are 3 times more likely to be neurodivergent.
That is true.
It generally, most of the time, people know their answer.
They do.
But it's a question they are almost happy to be asked.
Well, they were at our last coffee party.
Yes.
We had people chose animated dinosaurs. I didn't even know that was on the table. And we came up with a question. And then my most favorite mentor said, well, depends on the day of the week. I thought, this is why you're my mentor.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
But it shows that they're human.
It does show that they're human, and also business is people. And we're going to be talking about that an awful lot. And I just feel like it's such a great question for us to explain. Literally the first question that got us to become yes friends and just how much you need to recognize that quality more quickly when you're out and about in your networking activities. Now you wish you'd ask what's your favorite dinosaur to like everybody.
Everyone.
I kind of wish I had done it more during the year, which we're going to do in a second because we tallied up our numbers and you were patient enough because Mary's been a little busy. So I did not tally up my numbers before we hit record and you had to wait for me to do it.
The year felt very long.
It was a very long year of numbers, but we promised everybody in the premiere episode, the numbers don't lie. I think this has been the number one thing people have asked us out and about while networking because now people know that we go out and network a lot and they're like, well, how many have you done? So we added them up because you did your homework properly the way we agreed to. Would you like to go first and tell everybody your numbers?
Yeah. So together, when you and I were yes friend buddies and rocked in one car, we went to 42 events this year.
In 2025.
Yes.
How many weeks in the year are there? That's
52.
So we're shy by
We're
10.
shy. Maybe next year.
Goals. I have goals.
2026 goal. Solo, I had roughly 60 coffee dates. So these are not discovery calls. These are, I met somebody, they were weird, and I wanted to learn more. And I also had about 10 networking events that I attended solo, most of the time online, trying to test out different rooms to see what I liked and what I didn't.
Well, there was one that you did go to, and I was somewhere. Was I traveling or something? But I couldn't go, or it was double booked or something. And I remember you texted me, and you were like, Mary, it's so loud in here.
Oh, yes. That was an in-person one. I walked in the door and the building was like a tin can, like literally metal. And there were 100 people inside. And I swiped my name tag, took a few steps in, and then just turned immediately and left and got back in my car.
Yeah, we're going to save the noise level one for future episodes. We have so many things to say about noise levels in event rooms, which I think also speaks to, I don't even think it's a neurodivergent thing. I think it's a human thing. I mean, you shout and then your vocal cords are sore.
Yes.
I'm going to save it. I'm not going to turn this episode into that episode, I promise. But yeah, you did a lot. That's a lot. When you add all of that up together, that's way more than one per week on average of some kind of connection, conversation, whether it's group or solo or something.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we also discovered, like, you had gone through your calendar and added up what we had done together. And then when I went through my calendar, I was like, wait, well, what about these?
Yes,
and there were
I
8 more. I'm sure we've missed a few, but you were very patient and waited for me to go through my calendar. So drum roll, please. Somehow I beat you in solo coffee dates. I had 64 in 2025, and I went to 23 groups, both in person and online, without my yes friend. I don't even know how that happened.
I know you were cheating on me somehow.
How do I have a life without you? I didn't think it was possible. I'm so used to picking you up, and then we carpool, and it's been such a great way and space in that car, sitting through traffic, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And we've been able to digest, like, how did that feel for you? And what were the things you noticed? And sometimes discovering with relief, like, oh God, it wasn't just me. You were having the same problem too.
Yes. Or even going like on the way in, it's what's your goal?
Yes. Well, you started asking me that first, which bless, thank you. And because we got to know each other increasingly better and better and better since we've been doing this. And we finally got a little more organized between the two of us. It only took us how many events to do that?
Yeah.
But then I think, like, there came a point too where, and we'll talk about, like, being a good wing person to your person in future episodes this season, but being able to watch each other and then in the car be like, you said that so much better this time. Or, I noticed when you say this, like, they tune out, like, have you tried using like this term? And then we would go back to another event and try it. And it's amazing.
Yeah. And I think to clarify too, because I think a lot of people assume when you come with someone, you stay with that person.
Yeah.
There are some events that we do. There are some where we can read the room and we're like, let's just have a good time together and we'll meet the few people that we want to meet. And if they're cool enough to hang with us. But a lot of the other ones, we kind of split right away.
Yeah.
And we like touch base every few conversations, and
Every now and then.
bring somebody in, like, oh, you need to meet so-and-so and like bring them over to each other.
I feel like we've gotten a lot better at that. The more frequent one was the look across the room like, oh, dear God, save me. Please help me. And then you just notice swoop in and be like, didn't you have a place to be? Why, yes, on the other side of the room.
Away from them.
This is a great way to just show the math, because I think the numbers behind what we've done really explains that it's not just, oh, we do a lot of networking. No, like, we do a lot of networking. And it pays off. It's not always easy, but it really brought up this core theme as we were assembling all of our notes for this episode. And the theme was, how badly do you want it? And honestly, that kind of surprised me. I didn't think that was going to be the theme of the episode, that we were going to talk about sitting through traffic. But how badly do you want it is really the core mantra, because at the end of the day, like, we want it real bad.
Yeah. And I think let's define it. So, I mean, I can speak for myself first, but like for me, I was in this huge pivot of ending a business, thinking I knew what I was going to do next, having many difficulties, and needing to, as my husband so kindly put it, be the spider at the center of the web that everyone comes to. And so I went out and was trying to find a vast amount of people. So I needed clients, I needed collaborators, I needed subcontractors, I needed friends. I found you. And so it for me was kind of like huge. I needed so much. And so, I needed to make money. And so I needed it badly.
Yeah, I feel that for me. I feel that in my world too. By the time we got to the end of the episode, we'll be telling everybody our hot takes and what we each really took away from this. I opened a brick and mortar this year, and I think mine was much more, how badly do I want it? It was born out of having done a lot of self-reflection. So I'm an avid journaler to process my life and my world, and it's mental health care is journaling for me. And I found myself idolizing my years living and working in Los Angeles. And I thought, oh, it must be because there's more access to more things or whatever. But the more I peeled back the layers and dug into it, I realized that I had a social network there and a professional network there that was incredibly valuable. It helped me hop to better jobs, but also my life was just more enriched. And then after that, I had moved to Austin, Texas, and it just didn't even realize that how important that network was for so many reasons. And then I couldn't rebuild it. Like, it just didn't happen in Texas, and I did not last as long there. And so then I moved here and COVID broke out. So when I first moved here, I did the thing that you do where you fire up Meetup and Eventbrite and you go to anything that you can find because you don't know anything, you don't know anybody, and you're just like, I just got to get out there. And that has always worked, and I would argue that it still works. You got to start somewhere. But then COVID broke out, so everything was online, and I have been full-time online since 2016, so that wasn't weird for me. But when the world reopened again, I looked around and I was like, well, everybody who I'm really close with is not here. Then we were introduced, and we just started going out and doing things and going to these events because you were just as dinosaur weird as me, apparently. And so we did. And for me, like the how badly do you want it was, I need to make sure I rebuild a structure like I had during those LA years that were so vitally important. And I would say, I mean, technically you and I have been friending for about 2 years, and about 2 years later, like, the quality of life is so remarkably different. Like, it's really important. So yeah, I think, like, how badly do you want to eat? Finding that reason why you want that, I think, matters.
Yeah. Well, I think I used to hate when people would say, like, exactly that. How badly do you want it?
Yeah.
But it's true. Like, I'm currently writing a book. How badly do you want it? Do you want it bad enough that you're going to wake up half an hour early? Or do you want it badly enough you're going to section out 2 hours of your day? That is sacred. We wanted this badly enough that we're like, we are going to hop in the car and we're going to drive across the bridge into Portland at 5 o'clock and go who knows where, and who knows who we'll meet.
Yeah.
But I think for a lot of people, like, it comes down to asking, like, for my business and my livelihood, how badly do I want the dream vision of my, in quotes, success?
Well, and that requires people, businesses,
It does.
people. And I think the hardest part of modern day entrepreneurship, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that online entrepreneurship has lied to so many people with a false narrative that you can create anything and duplicate it online. And on paper, I would say, yes, that is very true. But the systems required to do that are so labor intensive. I would argue even more labor intensive than just getting in your car and sitting in rainy Pacific Northwest weather, sitting in rush hour Portland traffic to go to some panel talk or some networking thing. It's actually easier to do that than to fish around in a sea of online. I don't know who this is. I don't know what this is. I don't know how to vet them. Like, half the people have their cameras off. I literally cannot see the whites of their eyes. I don't know who's in this room. And being thrown into breakout rooms where all you're seeing is from shoulders up. Half of them aren't wearing pants, let's be honest. Don't trust somebody who's not wearing pants. Put on pants. Come on. I don't know how people do that. And you don't really develop the same kind of connection you do when you do some networking. So, like, I mean, you and I do plenty of online servicing for clients, but you still need in-person connection. It helps you be a better human, I think, and it helps those online connections feel you more deeply. What's your take? Small question.
Well, yes. No, my brain went, ADHD, 8 directions. One is that I think the fact that, so I help people build recurring revenue streams, and the fact that more people want to build memberships than subscriptions is kind of that signal that people are craving more, and they want a way to connect with each other. Because a lot of times subscriptions have to move up to memberships because the people are literally like begging for, I need a Slack channel, I need monthly calls. And when you run that sort of thing, it's a whole new ask. So I think people really want these things, and yet they're still left wanting more. And so you will see when I ran my last business there, I did not have a membership aspect to my embroidery club, but people would meet up. They would figure out where each other lived and like let's meet at the cafe and let's sew together. And that was great. But you could tell how much they wanted it. And like we still do. And so I think there's so many subtle cues that you can't see on the camera.
Agreed.
And there's so many, as we talk about, like my radar is much better in person to know like what this person is thinking, feeling, doing.
Not wait to get to that episode. We have it on our spreadsheet. Because you have the superpower of reading people. Like, I thought I was pretty good. No, you were like light years ahead of me. It's amazing. But you're right, though. People can perform better online because there is still a screen between you. Yep. And in person, it's just a lot harder to fake it. A lot harder. Which kind of, brings us into some of like the high points that we wanted to talk about for this inaugural episode. But we really wanted to address the question, does it really take that much time? Because it's been one of the main things that people ask us when they see us again and again. And they're like, why are you guys literally everywhere? And we're like, because we are. And they're like, well, how much time does it take? Like, how much time are you really spending doing that? Well, we've answered that question with all of the math that we showed. But, when we talk about business being people, you and I were talking before the episode, before we hit record, I was saying that, you have to make time for connections and it requires effort. Like, if business is people, it's just like your friendships. Like you wouldn't call someone your best friend and then ghost them for like 10 years, wander away, and then come back and be like, hey, best friend, and expect them to...
Can you help me move?
Yeah. Can I borrow your truck? And I think in business, we forget that. But there's also a fine line, and we'll talk about this in future episodes because it's such a complex topic. It's not socializing like your friendships. Yeah. There is a social aspect, but a business relationship still has a social aspect, but it has a professional, flavor to it. But those professional contacts still need to be treated like you would treat a friend, especially if you want the referral or you want to collaborate or you want access to their list or, you need something from them. Business is people. And I just feel like we meet people, we'll bump into them maybe like once or twice a year. And they're like, hey, homie, like, how you doing? And it's like, I haven't seen you in months. Like, I'm good, but how are you?
Yeah. So we kind of clocked how many times we had to see somebody before you could make a referral or set up a discovery call. And it was about 3 to 4. Mm-hmm. And I just remembered that back when I used to do wholesale, I looked into doing like New York Now. So this is the big, it's at the Java. You're laying down, and back in the day, 10 years ago, $6,000. Who knows what it is now? And that was just for the booth. That was just for a 10 by 10 square of cement. But I knew people who used to do it all the time, every year. And they would tell me it takes 3 years to get orders because the buyers need to know that you are successful enough that you're going to be around to keep supplying their customers. And it's kind of the same, right? Yeah. If you're successful, you kind of are still going to these things and you're like updating people and we can see that you're hustling. And so we kind of trust you to be around for our customers and clients when we need you.
It just made me think of something too, because I was thinking of a few people we have in our network who are amazing, and they're honestly too big and too busy to be going to a ton of networking events, which was another thing we have noticed. But even though they're too busy to go, sometimes they have people from their staff who will go in their stead.
Yep.
But they're so active building a real business that everyone's had meetings or chats with them somewhere else or just don't have time to be at the thing that evening. And you still know that they're around, and like the community is so small at the end of the day, and people really know each other's business. And so now we have discovered that effect for ourselves, I think, because people know what we're doing. And I feel like when we show up, it's not a surprise. They know we're there. And just your presence and then being top of mind for everybody is so prevalent that it shortens that amount of trust building time.
Yep.
Because the trust is consistently there. It's not like you're there in January, because we're recording this like literally right before New Year's Eve. And we'll flip into January mode and everyone's like, oh no, I need to build And then it's like the gym being full. Like the gym. The groups are full, and then it's like, oh, this takes effort. I'm tired. It's like, yeah, sometimes how badly do you want it?
And I don't see the results.
How badly
right
do
away.
you want it?
It's really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You have to confront a lot.
And you have good days and bad days yourself too. And so does everybody else that you're talking with. It's just very complicated. But that how badly do you want it then takes us into logistics. Traffic is the number one logistic we hear about from people. They can't believe that we have driven over the bridge that many times because we both live on the Vancouver side. And I think that's why we became yes friends, is because both of us were like, duh, go over the bridge. How hard? It's literally 15, 20 minutes. Even in bad traffic, we've never just sat on the bridge. Well, I mean, I know I'm a little biased. Well, and you lived and worked in the Bay.
Yeah.
So both of us have maybe a slightly skewed.
Yours was worse, but yes, we have just sat like
Literally
full
sat.
stop.
Yeah.
20 to 40 minutes, you know, put on your podcast. We're not moving.
I once sat at an intersection in LA in the light, like I parked my car. First I parked my car. And then finally everybody started
it's bad.
turning off their engines and the light's just turning and nothing's moving. And it's, you know, like 4 or 5 lanes of local traffic in one direction and everyone's headed towards the freeway. It was like, what freeway? I don't know. It's all the parking lot. And then you get to the point where you're like, well, shit, I gotta pee. And there was a Starbucks. And so people were going to Starbucks to get a snack and to go use the restroom. And like all the drivers were just talking to each other, like, just start honking the horn if the traffic's moving so that like, people would know to come out and get their cars. And I still remember that night, and like a drive that should have taken me no more than an hour took 3. That was a bad night. So that's my worst traffic story ever. And I know that that's not normal. And I don't expect Portland traffic to be like that.
No.
But the traffic here moves.
It does move.
And I think that it can seem like a time suck. I think this is a great like advocacy moment for finding a yes friend or yes friends and going together and carpooling for the purposes of peer masterminding while you're in the car, or even just like hanging out and getting some of that social time that people crave. And otherwise you are by yourself. But I mean, even when apparently I went to a lot of events without you this year, and I would sit in my car and I would catch up on my podcast or listen to my smutty audiobooks or whatever. But I don't know, I've just never had a hard time being okay filling that time. So I personally don't understand where it comes from, but I don't know, maybe you have other opinions.
No, it's never bothered me because I think it's part of the deal.
Yeah.
Like, what is it? It is, the British expression is, it is what it says on the tin. Like, I know, I knew it was going to take me a little bit to get there because I know I'm heading into downtown Portland at this time of day. And we're going to talk about this in other episodes. Like, I have anxiety, so I will Google map the location, look at the parking. I will know where I'm going to be parking. I will know that, oh, this is not a good one, but we're going in anyway. Like, how is this a building skill set moment instead of let's freak out on the highway? I think it helps to, yes, we've both lived in much bigger places. I think also I'm a cyclist, so I'm just like, you know, in the winter, you're just putting down like filler miles to just keep her like
to do the reps.
Endurance. Yeah.
You're doing the reps.
Yeah. So you just go to a happy place. You just utilize that time to do something else.
I love that because you're talking about reframing things. And I wonder how many people who complain about the traffic will sit through traffic to go to the gym because they believe going to the gym and doing the reps at the gym gives them the body they want for some outcome that they want. And it's like, so how badly do you want the business part then? Because you want the looks and the body part, and hopefully that includes your health.
Yes.
But like you want that. I can see how badly you want that. And that may not be everybody's thing that they want, but you know, it's an easy example to recognize. And I think figuring out a way to reframe the traffic question is so important because once you and I started hosting our private coffee parties here in the studio, our big question was, you know, how many people will drive over the bridge for us now?
Yep.
Like
the other way.
You know the numbers now. Like we have driven a lot over the bridge. And let me tell you, my mileage deduction on my taxes every year is fantastic. I don't mind it. And I just don't know that people realize how much of a trust builder that is, because when somebody comes over the bridge for us, we immediately are like, what can we do together?
Yep.
How can we speed up this process of getting to know each other better? Because you put in that effort and they equally are like, oh, thank goodness, good people hosting things. And I just feel like the traffic thing has just been such an interesting question that has come up so many times.
Well, two things. One, because it's not tax season yet. But yeah, you can get paid.
You're getting paid
go.
to drive. Deduct the mileage.
Deduct it.
And if you don't use an app to track your mileage, like that should be the first thing you do in the new year.
The second is, and I'm sure it will come up later, like you and I are part of a feral book club.
Yes.
Now we don't have children. So
Yes.
that, we
That
take
is a big
everything
factor.
with a grain of salt. However, I would think most mothers would be like, I could be alone in my car with my audio erotica for an extra 40 minutes. Yes, please.
please. Yes, please.
Oh no, honey, I have another networking event to go to. You will have to put the children to bed tonight because I have another chapter to read.
Well, I love that you bring that up, though. I have parented in a past relationship, and I know exactly what it's like to manage a schedule where you have a kiddo on your schedule, and they're not a teenager, so you can't leave them at home. They need help. They need being looked after. It is entirely possible, but it gets into, this commentary that we're having on logistics and just kind of moving on from traffic, the whole notion of managing your time and your calendar and to prioritize something that you need. If your lead pipeline is really sort of shriveled up and dried right now, the best thing you can do is get out there and start networking and figuring out.
My husband is like, yes, you're going again? Awesome. What else do you need to help me get you out the door? Go get that money.
Go get that money. Homo coffee need t-shirts. Go get that money. But it's kind of the feeling, and we don't always go to network just because we're like, who's gonna pay me in this room? We're gonna talk about that in a future episode because that's a very common.
There's
thing
so many
hear.
itches to scratch when we go.
But sometimes we're just super morbidly curious, like, what is that? What's that place look like on the inside? What's that co-working space look like on the inside? Or who's gonna show up? Is it the usual?
Who goes to a hot sauce panel?
Oh hell yeah, that
We
panel
do.
was so good. Do we sell hot sauce? No. Do we sell product right now? No.
Can we say we've met the founder of Hot Mama?
Oh, Hot Mama Salsa.
And the guy from Yoshida.
Oh, yes, Yoshida Foods. He was amazing. Yeah. And then I met the founder of Hab Sauce, my favorite chili crisp. That was amazing. Sitting right next to him. It was fantastic.
But you wouldn't have done that.
No.
If you hadn't gotten out your door.
No.
Did it get you business? No.
But we made connections.
We made connections.
And those people still see us.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it was so great to hear their answers. We had so much conversation in the car on the way back.
Yeah.
There was so much in terms of creativity when it comes to how you market something. And because they're product-based businesses, there's a tangible thing, which as a former product-based owner.
Yep.
And so it just had us talking about so many things in marketing. And I dare say we picked apart quite a few things that helped us make sure we're like, oh, we're not going to do like what she said. This gets into sort of like our final like high point for doing the math and how badly do you want it. And it just really comes down to the notion that you really do have to kiss a lot of frogs. You're going to meet a lot of people. They're not always going to be great. I would say 90% of the people are just frankly fucking weird. They're just weird. I'm sure somebody else has met me and they're like, wow, that girl uses the F-bomb a lot. I can't stand her. I'm like, great. We're not meant to be friends. But I think that there's very interesting people.
We've seen the whole gamut.
We have seen the whole thing. I've had people tell me things. I know you have too, where I'm like, wow, I can't believe you just said that to me. In a networking event, like we literally just exchanged business cards and you're telling me about your divorce. Like, wow, that was not on my bingo card tonight.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen everything from misogynistic tech bros.
Oh God, the one guy who
Yep.
never acknowledges women in front of him.
Yep.
I want to punch him.
Literally stole the man we were talking to and angled himself away from us and tried to get him out the door. Because he was having a great time with us.
We saw him at Demolicious Champion of Champions.
To everything.
And then he saw my face and just turned right around and went the other direction. I was like, you better run. You better run.
So we've seen that. We've seen MLM.
Lots of MLM.
Lots of MLMs. We've seen people who are very neurotypical. We've been in a whole room full of neurotypical people and realized that's why it felt so weird.
Thanks to you, I figured that out.
That's what that means.
Yes. I was like, why is this so weird? Why is it so awkward? Like, it always feels like there's so much dead air.
Yes.
And then you pointed out, oh, you were probably talking to neurotypical people. And ever since you have pointed that out to me, it's gotten so much easier to handle.
Yes.
I don't like it when it happens.
No, because it
can handle it.
It literally is like every sentence is going through a translator both ways. And so both of you are like, huh? You want, huh? But the good thing is that they generally don't think you're as weird as you are assuming you're presenting.
You sure about that? I think they think I'm pretty weird.
I think they're jealous, but like we've met people who run very traditional businesses. We've met a hell of a lot of real estate agents, but then we've also met people who run really weird niche. I mean, we got most recently the guy who runs VidiScript, who won Demolicious, who helps AI.
VidiScribe.
Thank you.
Oh, his business is amazing. And his pitch was chef's kiss. It was so good. So good.
But it's like there's people like that are just doing incredible things. So we've been in many rooms. We've seen, you almost kind of get to make these like archetypes of people. And it lets you quickly decide where they fit. What am I going to do with them?
Yeah.
Do I keep talking?
Well, and they're doing the same back to us too, especially in the founder community. I find that the people who are in various organizations are really evaluating the crowd. They are definitely clocking, how often do I see these people? How much can I depend on them? How consistent are they? And I think that it's really easy as a business owner who's not done a lot of networking to think, oh, I'm going to go there. I'm going to find somebody who can answer this question about how do I get more money? We're going to talk about during Premiere Week. But that's not how that happens. And it's also not how you find clients. We get lots of leads for clients, but it's people, relationships.
Yeah. You don't just walk in and go, I'm going to tell this person my sales pitch. And they're going to be like, oh my God, I've been looking for you. Give me your contact info and here's some money.
Wouldn't it be amazing?
It'd be great. We'd be so rich right now.
But you wouldn't want them to do that to you either.
No. Remember
when it does happen, you're like, run away, run away.
Remember what they used to say about social media where it was like, if all you did was like just post about your business, it was the same thing as being in a party and just shouting.
Yeah.
Like Monty Python's Life of Brian, where it's just like you get to sit on your, like the little heretic spot or whatever and just shout your conspiracy theory.
It is like shouting conspiracy theory.
It's kind of like that when you go into networking and you're just like, here is what I do. Are you interested? Can you give me money? And you're just like, hi, I don't even know what your name is.
Well, we met someone recently who apparently runs like 6 MLMs or something. Her whole back of her business card was all MLMs. And the conversation was kind of like that. And it was a little deceiving because she had learned enough to have an engaging interaction, and then all of a sudden it was like this bait and switch.
Oh, I ended up in a coffee date, yes, thinking because she wanted to work with me, and then it quickly became apparent, she wanted it both ways.
Thank you for taking one for the team.
Yeah, that was a terrible coffee shop too, and it was one of those where you start looking at the exit and you're like, do I pretend that I like just suddenly got diarrhea, like have to run out? Do I go to the bathroom and just never come back? Or how do I end this conversation? I did, because it's good when they're like, it's like a pyramid scheme, except, and you're like,
oh no. Oh, no.
And then, then it's kind of like Girl Scout badges. Like, I'm just collecting all the badges. So, be like, oh.
Are you saying we need to start merch and have badges that you can collect for all the weird things?
Being approached by MLMs.
You've earned your MLM approach badge.
They fascinate me. I love how they work. My favorite is when we were in a room full of realtors and the guy was going off about how dumb women are because they fall for MLMs all the time. And in the next breath, he told me about his crypto.
It's just MLMs for dudes.
It's like you totally fell for it too.
Oh, good. Well, you win some, you lose some, right? So,
Yeah.
if anything, I mean, you pointed out that if anything, when we kiss a lot of frogs out there, it gives us a chance to A/B test our pitches. And that, I think, has been very, very true. And sometimes we walk into a room and you and I are both like, we are not splitting up. Do not leave me alone in this room. And we have done this sort of naturally now. And we'll kind of go around and we know that the whole room is full of frogs. And we're just like, well, we're here now. And we sat through rainy, shit-tastic traffic. And we're like, but they have a couple good hors d'oeuvres and like, we'll last. And then we'll just kind of practice telling people what we do because you need to do the reps.
Yep.
I have known for years how terrible I am at telling people what I do and also not memorizing the who you serve and what you offer spiel, like a really bad B&I intro, which has been sort of the go-to thing that people do. And not that it's a bad thing to be able to tell somebody super succinctly. I mean, bless you if you can do that. Yeah. But like to just have a conversation around what you do is so useful. I think sometimes too, like if I can get somebody, let's say it's a room full of MLM or realtors, and they tell them about running a studio and they get super excited about it, even though it has nothing to do with what they want to do. And they are so not my ideal people, but they get excited about it. I'm like, okay, I'm hitting a right nerve. And if I can explain a complicated topic and they're like, oh, get it. That totally makes sense. Can't believe I never thought of that before. I'm like, yep, those are the words. I got it now. And it sticks. And so then the next time we're in a room where it actually matters, we really feel the difference, I would say.
Yeah. Well, you have a stand-up background. I would assume it's very similar where you have to test it on the rooms. A lot of times now what they tell you is like, try to say what you do as though you're talking to 8-year-olds. Which I think it's great because I have gone to so many networking events and some tech bro tries to tell me what he does. And because of the industries that I worked in, I'm just like, I have no idea what that means. And that's like, could you, but then when they like are able to explain it and like, I help, I make the noises in videos. I'm like, oh, well, that's cool.
That is cool.
Do you have a room full of props? And they're like, yes. I'm like, oh, okay. Tell me like, now I'm interested. Tell me more.
I think that's so smart, though. We have been in rooms of tech guys where it literally feels like they're talking to you in code, and you're just like, and I need to go refresh my drink now. But yeah, I think finding ways, I love this talking to an 8-year-old thing, like finding ways to make it engaging
and tangible, or like if you can have examples, like I think getting people excited.
Yeah.
Because I've watched you introduce yourself. And I don't know if we'll talk about this later, but you made a big switch from content producer to media producer.
Well, that was thanks to you because I think it slipped out of my mouth.
Yeah.
And you noticed it. And I did not even notice that I had done it.
Everyone near you, like visibly, like took a half step back. And we're like, oh. It was like you like did the hair flip and you were like, excuse me.
With the wind in my hair.
And it was just like, they were like, oh my God, she just media.
It did change things,
though. How did my husband put it the other day? You can, like, the dollar signs on Yelp. It, like, put an extra dollar sign over your head. I'm like, I am very expensive. I make people money,
I like being bougie and expensive. But it was like you and I were trying to figure out because design thinking was the thing that like being a just people cannot go there.
No.
So hard.
That took me like 6 months. Yes. Nobody likes, I was helping people, like, as I would say, like get unstuck. And that's what I helped you do to get the studio.
You did.
Nobody wants to admit that they're stuck.
No, but then one day I remember we were in the car and I was like, pimp me out. Just don't tell them design thinking. Just tell them, well, like Mary here, she just got keys to the brick and mortar and this is how I helped her. And you tried it a couple times and they instantly were like, oh, and then there was a real person. And I remember a couple people were like, did she really? And I'm like, yes, she really did. And it changed the conversation. And so I think like the notion of kissing frogs is so necessary because everything is theoretical until you just start doing it and having those conversations, and you're gonna flub. It's like, you're right, it is like stand up. You are gonna bomb so hard so many times, and you have to bomb. You have to.
Well, the fun thing too is that I guess it's not. I love iteration. So it's fun for me. It can actually help you figure out your offering because one, you might not be selling it the right way, but also the entry point might not be right. And so as you go and you talk to these people, you can begin to see like, oh, they think I know what their real problem is, but this is what they think the problem is. And so you're actually able to be like, let me make a workshop or like a package specifically because I keep meeting these people and what I'm pitching them is not resonating, even though when I listen to them, I know exactly this is the problem. And so it took me like this whole last year of like, keep trying, keep listening, keep trying, keep listening to finally be like, oh, you just needed this. And it's normally some in mind, like in the design thinking and customer centered business world, it's called like the psychological benefits of your offering. And psychological benefits, so you have like features, benefits, psychological benefits. The psychological benefits are the deepest ones. And I always tell my clients, imagine that it's a teenager and that's what they're screaming at you right before they slam the door. Like you're the parent. And so it's normally like, this should just be easier. Or like, I just want people to give me money. Or why don't people like me?
Now there's a question.
That's the psychological, yes.
But this is such a beautiful way to help us wrap up because your results this year really were around reframing your offers. I mean, you still landed, because I've got the notes in front of us, you still landed a $10,000 contract that came directly through networking. So
yes,
you did make some, like a nice 5-figure contract there.
Yes.
Just through networking alone.
Yes, I would not have. It was with a nonprofit and I got championed in by the woman that I networked with for honestly quite a few months. Like we were in a group together and we got to know each other and then we had some like coffee dates. And then she was like, you know what? I'm on this nonprofit board and we really need what you do. Let me get you, like, give me your proposal and I will get this through. And she did. Like she went to bat for me. The other things that I got from all of this though was, it was a lot of like reframing, burning it down, building it again, burning it down, building it again, burning it down, building it again. But each time coming back like so much closer to what it needed to be. Yeah. And I think I also just needed the time to really get to know what I wanted to do and what I'm good at and what I want to help people do. And now kind of ready to go into 2026 with like, we're there.
I think you're highlighting how long it actually takes to do a proper pivot.
Oh, yeah.
It's deeply uncomfortable.
2 years.
Yeah.
2 years.
That was mine too. I think I was maybe 6 months ahead of you.
You like to think, oh, I was making X. I'll just open this new business.
No.
But you have no audience. You need a full and burnout.
And the market has burnout, and then the market has been hella weird. And yeah, it's been like every possible variable.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what kind of quadratic equation are we solving? Because it sucks.
But sometimes it takes that long just to get the right foundation.
Yes. And networking definitely has to be in your foundation. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to put in the reps.
I definitely found my results at the end of the year. The big one was establishing the brick and mortar. I found key foundation help though. I have the right bookkeeper / CFO now. That was through networking. Shout out to Alex. I found the right mentor. Shout out to Dave. I found so many people that allow me to grow, that have created space, expansive space. So my pipeline for the coming year is fucking stacked, man.
It's so exciting.
I mean, I had some big years during COVID and post-COVID coaching online, and I have never had a pipeline stacked like this before. And it is so exciting. It's also like, oh, holy shit. But it's so exciting. And so I think it's interesting that the things you and I both called out as our biggest result wins from all those numbers, because we know people are like, but how much money did you make?
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, I made plenty of good money. This was not my best, 2025 was not my best revenue year.
No.
I don't think it was the best revenue year for most anybody. No. But I did a lot better than most. I would argue you also did a lot better than most. And like I established a brick and mortar and paid for the darn thing. Like, you know how much, and I paid for myself. Thank you very much. That was not some SBA loan. I did not go out and, do a Kickstarter or anything like that. That was a power move. And it all came because I had evidence from having a stronger support network and a local network that validated the data that I was researching and looking for, that was like, yes, the answer is yes. There is a gap in the market. There is market for it, and people want it. And also, I have a support network around to help me build it and grow it. So yeah, I would say there's a lot of money behind that. Is this the year that I get to say, I made $10 million? No, that is coming. But the pipeline is stacked in a way that would not be there without that networking. I would literally be flying in foggy, blind conditions without knowing the local market.
Yeah. Well, and it's not something that other people will have come out of it, but we also decided to start holding our own events.
Well, and we'll talk about the one that failed before this one.
So frustrating. And to do the podcast and everything like that. Sometimes there's no, you don't see dollar signs attached, but it does grow your business in ways you didn't expect.
There's the mic drop. Okay, so Megan, what's your hot take for this episode for listeners to take away? What's the question that you're asking them?
I think it still goes back to the how much do you want it? It's are you honest with yourself about how much you need to network?
Yeah.
Because we met so many people that said, yeah, this is what I need. Then we didn't see them.
There's people we've never seen again.
No.
I bet we'll see them at some point in January.
But we put up the bat signal and it was still just Batman and Robin came, but nobody else.
Yeah. I mean, people asked us.
Yeah.
They were like, can I come? What are you doing?
We had a group chat.
Yeah.
Still just Batman and Robin.
Just Batman and Robin.
Just it.
Can I be Robin? Sure. Yeah, my hot take is that you need to practice your social skills.
Ooh.
And you can't do that alone in your home office. You actually have to get out there and talk with real people, and you're gonna bomb. I've had plenty of awkward days too.
Oh,
but
yeah.
You've got to have social skills, and I think you and I get compliments from people where they're like, "Oh, you guys are so approachable and warm and whatever." And it's yes, we are. We like to think of ourselves as nice people.
Yeah.
But also we've had practice interacting with every kind of person. So even when somebody is a little unhinged or really super awkward, at least we don't kind of recoil and make it extra awkward, and at least give somebody the dignity of being able to show up and finish that conversation, even if it's short.
That's because the police officer taught me the don't blink. The don't blink rule.
What you do.
Yeah. So I used to do martial arts, and we had a police officer come in once, and she was like, the rule is
Don't blink.
Don't blink. Because she's like, you will hear the weirdest stuff, and they won't trust you if you blink. So if you don't blink, it means it's okay. It did not shock me. So you can't. Yeah. So when we get in the awkward situations, it's just and they're like, let me tell you about my divorce. And you're like, don't blink. Sure. Go ahead. I will just tune this out. But but if you blink, if you make it awkward, like you said, you will lose them. And you don't know what you might gain from them. Or they might shut down, and that might have been their one networking event of the year.
Well, we met someone earlier this year, and she was real awkward when we first met her. And then we got to know her a little bit, and she relaxed, and she is the coolest person ever. Yeah. But if we hadn't been patient enough to hold space, because it was a prolonged period that took her to unwind and relax into a good conversation. But yeah, I realized it's so funny that you're like a police officer. Don't blink. I just realized while you were talking that I think it's like a hologram. I envision it going around my neck like a priest collar, and I'm like, hold space. Yep. Let them say what they need to say with compassion. And
we're both that sort of person, though, that I will get somebody on the light rail who will just tell me their life story. And I'm like, I did not even say anything to you. But that's great to hear about your tattoos and your daughter and your...
People have confessed so many things to me in so many places. And
so I think we're those sorts of people that we get it extra.
Oh, me too.
I think we have a safe,
We have safe energy.
We have therapist energy.
Because we've done so much therapy outside. I mean, which, could be its own episode. Go to the therapist, because it's very helpful. But yeah, like you and I have so many things that we can talk about when it comes to networking. I am very excited that we're finally doing the podcast.
And some of it's like, do's and don'ts. So like very like black and white, kind of like here's how you interact in the room. Here's what you don't say. Here's, how to build those relationships. And other things are, we know we're going to talk about some harder issues, neurodivergence, mental health. Like, what do you do?
You and I do very different things when we're done with it. We're both
I thought it was normal,
but we do very different things.
I thought my routine was normal afterward. But yeah, we just learned that there was so much that we had compiled and that people were honestly wanting to know. Yes. Like, how can I get better at this?
Yes.
Or what are different ways to think about it? Because I think that's one of the key things is you and we're not going in like, I need 3 deals by the end of the night. We're open.
But that's also not going to happen, so.
No, you'd be surprised how many people think that's what they're rolling up to. But I think it helps that we're open.
Yeah, I love that. And then people have been wanting notes on where should I go? We've been asked that so many times. Is there a list somewhere? Where do I go? And the answer is no, there is no list. And also it changes constantly. So
it depends on what you need.
Mm-hmm. So like you have to be active in the community. You have to go. And also in Mary's Land of Famous Predictions, I had predicted like a year ago that a lot of the best connections were going to start coming through private invite-only spaces. We started one after getting results poorly on the first iteration of our thing. And we have also since been invited into other private spaces. Yeah. So if that's happening, there's way more out there than we even know about.
That's it for today's episode of the Awkward Handshake.
We record at Sasquatch Media Grounds in Vancouver, Washington.
I'm Megan, co-founder of Fat Cap Design and creator of PDX Spellbound.
And I'm Mary, founder of Sasquatch Media Grounds and Sensible Woo.
You'll find links to everything we mentioned, guests, resources, and ways to connect with us in the show notes on your favorite podcast platform.
That's also where you'll get updates on where we're headed next and when we're inviting listeners like you to join us for guided networking in person and online.
Don't be passive.
Click the links, pick better rooms. We'll see you there.